It is the 3rd of May 2024. Hello and welcome to the Kdf Friday Bulletin. I am Sergeant Doreen Kerubo. The Bulletin is a show to keep you updated on events undertaken by the Ministry of Defense over the week. In our highlights tonight, Commander-in-Chief presides over investiture of ranks and swearing-in ceremony. Enhancing Kenya's maritime capabilities. Department of Public Service visits Defense Headquarters. Commander Kenya Army visits personnel at the Defense Forces Memorial Hospital. And in sports, this year's Chief of the Defense Forces Bora Cup men's category kicks off in Nakuru County. To start us off, His Excellency Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, has presided over the investiture of ranks and swearing-in of the newly promoted and appointed Kenya Defense Forces General Officers. The event comes a day after the President effected postings, promotions and appointments of the General Officers pursuant to Section 9, Subsection 2, Clause A of the Kenya Defense Forces Act, that saw General Charles Muriu Kahariri promoted and appointed the new Chief of the Defense Forces.
General, thank you very much.
President William Ruto installed ranks to the newly promoted and appointed Chief of Defense Forces General Charles Kahariri, Vice Chief of Defense Forces Lieutenant General John Mugaravai Omenda, Senior Directing Staff Air at National Defense College Major General Peter Nyamogethenji, Senior Directing Staff Navy at the National Defense College Major General Sheikh Abdi, Managing Director Kenya Meat Commission Major General Yatan Kapare Gula, and the Managing Director Kenya Ordnance Factories Corporation and Food Processing Factory Major General George Okumu. Thereafter, the Commander-in-Chief witnessed the swearing-in of the incoming Chief of Defense Forces, Vice Chief of Defense Forces, Kenya Air Force Commander Major General Fatuma Ahmed, and Kenya Navy Commander Major General Paul Owuor Otieno. Notably, Major General Thomas Njoroge Ng'ang'a was appointed Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration and Finance at the National Defense University, Kenya, while Brigadier Samuel Koskei Kipkorir becomes the new Deputy Commander, Kenya Air Force. In his remarks, the President commended the newly promoted and appointed general officers for their dedication and professionalism, emphasizing that their advancements were based on merit.
The appointment that you have been given and the mandate and assignment that has been bestowed on you is to serve the Republic and the people of Kenya. It is a solemn responsibility. It is a responsibility put on your shoulders. You will exercise authority, but you must remember that exercising authority comes with huge responsibility, and responsibility comes with accountability.
All promoted and appointed general officers were accompanied by their family members during the auspicious occasion.
Defense Principal Secretary Mr. Patrick Mariru hosted His Excellency Martin Browner, the Ambassador of the Netherlands to Kenya, at the Defense Headquarters in Nairobi. The Ambassador was taken through the requirements for the Kenya Navy base Manda jetty and a presentation on the proposed construction of the fixed jetty. The establishment of a fixed jetty at the Kenya Navy base Manda holds strategic importance in strengthening the nation's naval infrastructure and operational readiness.
Yes.
The presentation underscored the necessity and advantages of the proposed fixed jetty, highlighting its potential to enhance the operational efficiency of the Kenya Navy, support maritime operations, and contribute to regional security initiatives. The construction of the jetty is poised to enhance the Navy's logistical capabilities and operational effectiveness, showcasing the government's dedication to fortify defense infrastructure and maritime presence for safeguarding coastal waters and the exclusive economic zone. Additionally, the establishment of a fixed jetty at the Kenya Navy base Manda reflects the government's proactive stance in modernizing naval capabilities, particularly amidst evolving regional security dynamics and the increasing importance of maritime security.
Thank you.
In the same breath, Defense Principal Secretary Mr. Patrick Mariru hosted officials from the State Department for Public Service during a visit at the Defense Headquarters in Nairobi. The team was hosted for a one-day workshop on the career progression guidelines for various cadres at the Ministry of Defense.
Led by Dr. Lilian Zavi, Director of Human Resource Management and Development, the workshop aimed to evaluate progress in formulating schemes of service for different cadres for ministry civilian staff that lacked established structures for years. During the meeting, the PS received comprehensive updates on the development of work instruments for civilians working as aircraft surface technicians, safety equipment technicians, and morticians, as well as lecturers and instructors at the Premier Defense Forces Technical College, and also expressed full support from the ministry's leadership, emphasizing the importance of providing clear career guidelines for every cadre to enhance staff upwards mobility.
In other news, Lieutenant General David Tarus, Commander Kenya Army, empathized and encouraged Kenya Defense Forces personnel and their families during a visit at the Defense Forces Memorial Hospital here in Nairobi. The commander reassured them of the Kenya Defense Forces leadership commitment at looking at their welfare while being admitted at the hospital for various ailments. He also wished them a quick recovery as well as presented them with a Get Well Soon card. Moving on, the Kenya Navy dispatched a team of divers and marines following a boat tragedy where 20 people lost their lives while trying to cross a flooded section of the Nairobi-Garissa Road. The divers were deployed to the tragedy area to assist in the recovery of the missing bodies. The divers made a comprehensive assessment of the flooded section and launched an operation aimed at retrieving the remaining 13 bodies. The team remained steadfast in their mission dedicated to providing closure to the families of the affected by this tragedy. Aligned to the Kenya Defense Forces secondary mandate, Kenya Navy remains responsive to provide aid and support to civil authorities when called upon during emergencies or when disasters strike. Elsewhere in Nakuru County, a multi-agency team comprising of the Kenya Defense Forces, National Police Service and the National Youth Service, who are deployed in search and rescue operations following the ongoing floods, recovered the body of a young woman 1 kilometer from the Maimahio Narok Road junction. The team covered a 12-kilometer stretch unclogging water lagoons in search of victims of the flooding incident in the area. General Officer Commanding Border Security Command, Major General John Koimo, who is also the National Floods Coordination Center Commander, commended the security teams for their well-coordinated operation during his visit to the security personnel involved in the Maimahio rescue operation. Now on to matters Environmental Soldier Program. Brigadier Peter Chelimo, Deputy Commander Kenya Navy, led Kenya Navy sailors in a tree planting drive to mark this year's Labor Day celebrations in Mombasa County. Speaking during the exercise, Brigadier Chelimo raised awareness on the importance of planting trees as a survival measure for the society and the world at large, and it is in line with the Environmental Soldier Program within the Kenya Defense Forces.
The aim of the activity was to plant over 450 million trees under the Environmental Soldier Program. This initiative is in line with the President's directive to mitigate climate change effects with a target of 15 billion trees by 2032. Elsewhere, at Bubobu Secondary School, Brigadier John Sankale Kiswa led sailors from the Kenya Navy fleet in planting assorted indigenous trees accompanied by local administration leaders and members of the public. Greens of Africa Foundation CEO Jedida Wanyika commended the Kenya Defense Forces for the environmental conservation efforts and planting over 50,000 tree seedlings in different areas within Likoni sub-county at the Dogo Kundu Economic Zone, Moi Forces Academy, Mombasa, Likoni DCC's office, Mtonga Vocational Center and Destiny School. Troops from 27 Mechanized Infantry Battalion were not left behind as they planted over 1,000 seedlings within Moyaled Forward Operating Base in collaboration with the Kenya Forest Service.
Representative officers from 15 Kenya Rifles earlier this week paid a visit to Brigadier retired Joel Munandi at his residence in Makueni County. Led by Ambassador Major General Retired Thomas Chepkuto, the officers relayed a message of appreciation to their second commanding officer, who served for a period of 2 years between 1990 to 1992. Ambassador Major General Retired Chepkuto expressed gratitude to Brigadier Munandi for the distinguished service and leadership he rendered while at 15 Kenya Rifles.
Major General Peter Muteti applauded Brigadier Munandi's service and emphasized the importance of officers' unity beyond active service and termed it as an important initiative that provides an opportunity for officers to learn from each other and exchange ideas on good leadership, and also to get insights about how to transit to civilian life following exit from the service. On his part, Brigadier Retired Munandi urged the service personnel to uphold integrity and discipline while discharging their duties. He noted that it is through these virtues that officers can grow and realize their full potential in the military career. He further encouraged making early investments, which come in handy at making life enjoyable upon retirement. Brigadier Retired Munandi joined the military in 1967 and rose through the ranks to be appointed as the second commanding officer of 15 Kenya Rifles in 1990. He retired as the Commandant Defense Headquarters Camp Administrative Unit in 1998.
The St. Peter and Paul Cathedral Parish held the Diocesan Pontifical Missionary Children's Mass, led by Lieutenant Colonel John Jue, who is serving as the Apostolic Administrator of the Military Ordinariate of Kenya at the Defense Headquarters here in Nairobi. The Mass was centered around the theme Together in Prayer, which was inspired by the book of Acts 4:24, signifying the commencement of the preparation for the Jubilee year 2025.
The service was geared towards encouraging the participation of children in church under the Pontifical Missionary Children's umbrella, whose motto is Children Helping Children, and anchored on 2 pillars of prayer and sharing. During his sermon, Lieutenant Colonel Njue emphasized the significance of providing care and support to children, virtues that stem from one's calling and are entrusted to parents and caregivers by God. He expressed that children ought to be influenced by our conduct, which should serve as a positive model for them to follow. Pontifical Missionaries Children National Coordinator, Sister Rose Mwangi, said that Pope Francis has emphasized love towards children who should further help other children through prayer. During the event, Lieutenant Colonel Njue blessed missionary teens received from different military ordinariates intended to help needy children in the society.
And in sports, Brigadier Joel Arimi, the Commander Armored Brigade, this week officially opened this year's Chief of the Defense Forces Bora Cup on behalf of the Chief of the Defense Forces, General Charles Kahariri, at the 81 Tank Battalion in the Net, Nakuru.
This year's edition, taking place at 81 Tank Battalion, has attracted 18 formations whose teams are ready to showcase their sportsmanship and enhance esprit de corps and physical fitness among the soldiers. In his speech read by Brigadier Arimi, General Kahariri implored the teams to uphold the spirit of sportsmanship and impartiality throughout the tournament, and also adhere to the strict military discipline, code of conduct and rules of the game drawn from the International Federation of Football Association. In the inaugural match, Isiolo team faced Lodwar in a game that ended in a goalless draw.
Thank you for watching. We look forward to your feedback via our official social media handles and your viewership next Friday for the KDF Friday Bulletin. I am Sergeant Doreen Kerubo. Goodbye and God bless.